Well, welcome. So today's topic, I think is suiting and fitting, is relatability. Now, what is this whole concept of relating, right? And so, yes, in the beginning, not that words never stop mattering a fact, because what is, words upon themselves? Well, it's how we communicate, how we connect, how we find a sense of community, how we find a sense of crediting ourselves, you could say, of if we use a $50 word, to simply say, then, we're using 50 words to sum up, or that one word to sum up 50 concepts in and of itself. And so we could say a dishwasher. What do we do in a dishwasher? We wash dishes and all that kind of stuff, right? So now you know where it's located, all that kind of stuff. Those concepts behind all that stuff. Instead of saying go into this room through this door after you or we don't need to explain how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at that point, right? Because you have that common sense. You already have that what's common and its sense, how things operate and all that kind of stuff, right? And so, yes, in the beginning, words absolutely are crucial to feeling that you are able to find a way home, a way back to yourself, a measure of your sanity, right? Getting your peace of mind back. As simply to say, isn't that what recovery is all about? Is getting your sense of a peace of mind back? Getting to a point of being sane in and of itself. And so to say of okay, so I went to that meeting. Well, I wasn't really convinced or whatever it may be, right? That I had a problem and that this addiction, because anything without moderation is addiction. If it's unmanageable and it's you're powerless over it because it's happening, all that kind of stuff. I just wasn't ready at that point, right? To be active part of my recovery and all that kind of stuff and be joyous in it, basically. And so, I it was my turn to share and all that kind of stuff. And yet, so I apologize. I had to like let some air out of my mouth, a burp or whatever. And yet, so what happened was I was sharing and I was like, well, I'm here because of the cord. I've got to do this, dar, 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 dar. Because I actually was drinking and driving. I got a DUI at that point. Or maybe that was before that. I don't recall. Anywho, but yeah, quite literally, I was drinking and driving before. And, ironically, you're not really drinking and driving when you get a DUI. It doesn't have to be that way, but words and concepts and all that kind of stuff, right? You know, um, and so societal agreed upon terms, basically. So, what occurred with them having that challenge of me saying sober instead of saying clean was that the word, right? They're so focused on the word, so they kicked in the opposite of tradition 4 and devalued tradition 5, right? For the basically the opposite of tradition 1. Yet within group conscious they agreed, or whatever, the preset of the house rules at that point was you don't talk about living or sober, you say clean. And it's like, okay, well, we don't shut the door on the past. And it's funny because it doesn't, the NA has an absolute clarity statement. One of their readings is a clarity statement. It doesn't matter about talk about living clean and sober. It's a distraction point. We somehow talk about living sober and clean, you know, brings forth a recognition that somehow these drugs are different and one requires special recognition. Okay, so in and of itself, it doesn't matter about what recovery word you use, as long as you're an active part of your recovery. So maybe I lined something up today that touched you in every single way, and that's okay, you know, because how is your higher power through your own understanding supposed to communicate, especially if you don't put the work in by praying, right? To then being able to gift you with the meditation, the answer, communication from your higher power, right? Because if this was religious and you didn't understand it, what would be the point then, right? Why would you keep putting work into it? Why would you keep praying? Wouldn't you lose hope? And then you become hopeless and in the modern day means of an agnostic, and which is really just an atheist at that point. This closing part goes out to recovery. I will follow you all the way.
I'll follow you wherever you go. Stay close to you, 'cause darling, you're my home.